All right, guys, we're going to call the meeting to order. Roll call and declaration of quorum.
Dr. Matusik.
Here.
Mr. Garrison. Mr. Lau.
Here.
Mr. Choate.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Present. Very good, thank you. Agenda item 1.2, I'd like to welcome everyone here. Thank you for being in attendance this evening. Agenda item 2.2, comments regarding the agenda items. I've had no one contact me specifically to speak, but we do have multiple people on the speaking list. So anyone who signed the speaking list will need to speak to a specific agenda item, okay? So agenda item 2.2. So anyone who signed up will need to speak to the agenda, okay? There are 7 people who signed up: Mrs. Penny Klein, Mrs. Amy Sheelite, Mrs. Tina Gilland, Mrs. Lacey Vodder, Mrs. Misty Copeland, Mrs. Marla Smith, and Mrs. Amanda Tyree. So when we get to the agenda item that you would like to speak on, just raise your hand and I'll call on you, okay? Agenda item 2.3, recognition of Teachers of the Year.
Okay, the Teacher of the Year for the Early Childhood Center was Taylor Black. Teachers of the Year for the elementary was all the teachers, which I don't think they're all here, but middle school was Lindsay Briley. And the high school Teacher of the Year was Jenna Matusik. And the District Teacher of the Year was Lindsay Briley.
All right.
Pictures.
Pictures.
Barb, did you want pictures? Jack, did you want pictures?
No, I'll get them.
Okay.
Are you
You
giving
get
them
them
an award or anything at this time?
At this time?
Yes.
No.
No.
Okay, we can get them later.
Applause. Okay. Applause.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you for a wonderful job, and congratulations on Teacher of the Year and with your accolades. That is wonderful. Agenda item 3, consent agenda. Does anyone on the board have an item in which they wish to remove from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Dr. Matusik.
Yes.
Mr. Garrison.
Yes.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mr. Choate.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes. Agenda item 4, regular business. Discussion, possible board action regarding activity fund transfers.
There are none.
There are none. Okay. Agenda item 5, new business.
No new business.
Okay. Agenda item 6, superintendent's report.
So our funds continue to be down compared to last year. The general fund is down about $1,080,000. The nutrition program is down about $80,000. The overall budget is still kind of in the same, trending in the same direction. It's getting better a little bit. The COVID money helps get us over a rough spot, but it's certainly not a cure. Visiting with someone, I said it's kind of like feeding cattle, and you can't afford to feed your cows, but someone gives you some free hay. When the hay's gone, you still got to feed the rest of the cattle, so it is a little bit of a challenge. The gross production is trending a little better, and you know, the changes to the COVID and everyone getting their shots, maybe that's going to loosen up and people travel and burn more fuel, and maybe having the cold winter would help out as well. So overall collections were down about 1.7 million, and that's compared to last year this time. Facilities, we had a really good tournament week, 3 weeks. I don't see Todd here. Oh, I do see Todd here back there, and there's next to him Ms. Fuchsa, and they did an outstanding job with the graphics on the, if everyone doesn't know, I'm talking about, we had hosted district, a regional, and an area tournament. The district and the regional was our kids regionals and districts. The area tournament was a 3A tournament, and so some folks gave up their time going to Enid and watching our kids play to help put that on, and it went over amazingly well. Can't thank everybody that helped out with that to make that happen. It was again very, very well received. There's some guys I've known that have been coaching for 40 plus years and felt like they had never been in a better facility, and they've been in a lot of facilities. But thanks to Coach Hix and his involvement, and to Miss Avila, Bert Russell, again, Todd and Rayanne. There's a lot of folks back. The guy for Squirtle said that the absolute best pulled pork nachos he had ever had were served in the concession stand by Mr. Lacey and his crew that put that all together. So we're really hoping when we pass the bond issue to build the event center and tornado shelter, one of the three things we said we wanted it to do was to have community access, and we have several people walking every night. By the way, if anyone walks up there, we had it measured today. David Fuchsa had his measuring wheel, so if you walk exactly on the gray stripe in the middle, it's 518 feet. So 10 times around. I don't remember what you calculated. Was that what it was? 10 times? So 10 times around and get you a mile up there. The second thing was to keep our millage low, which we kept it at or below 19 mils this entire time. And the third thing was to be an economic engine for the community. And I'm going to try to find out exactly how much impact that had. But the anecdotal information I got from just stopping at Subway and having a sandwich and asking them if they had noticed any difference in different places was a resounding yes, they had realized that some things were going on. And so it's living up to those three things. And that's about all I got. You guys have any questions? Okay.
Anything on the windmills recently? Have we heard anything about that?
We called today, and we were trying to find out our ad valorem has not collected as well as it should, and we made some adjustments 2 years ago. We faced a similar situation, just not to the same degree. And part of the process was to call the treasurer and see if they could give us any idea why our ad valorem collections were wavering a little bit. And they said that the only case that's before the Oklahoma Supreme Court on the windmills is the Kingfisher deal south of Kingfisher County, south of Okarche. And they said they were supposed to have that hearing a couple weeks ago in El Reno, and they didn't have water, so they had to push it back to April 12th. So hopefully we'll know, and that really just settles that case. But the idea is that possibly that would serve as a benchmark for everybody else to decide on what their correct taxes would be.
Did we determine how much of the new wind farm in the Ames area is touching our district?
No, I've not been able to get a hold of them lately. I have a number for the lady I met a while back, but I've not heard anything on the numbers.
Any other questions for Dr. Woods?
Thank you.
All right. Agenda item 7, personnel. 7.1, proposed executive session to discuss the employment of Rita Huntsberger, certified personnel and extra duty assignments for the 21-22 school year. Do we have a motion for a vote?
I move that we go to executive session.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Garrison?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Right.
Okay, I'd like to acknowledge that we're returning to open session. We entered executive session at 7:10. Had a 5-minute recess from 8:05 to 8:10. Recess from 9:25 to 9:30. We entered executive session to discuss the employment of Rita Huntsberger, certified personnel and extra duty assignments for the 21-22 school year. All board members were present, including our guest, Mr. Tillman, Mr. Sternberger, and we invited Mr. Paul Hix in. And we are ready to go. Thank goodness for a short executive session. Okay, agenda item 7.2. You don't need it. It's okay. Agenda item 7.2. Discussion, possible board action regarding employment of certified personnel for the 21-22 school year.
My recommendation is that we reemploy the tax list of certified career teachers for the 2021-2022 school year.
Move to hire.
Second?
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Garrison?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Agenda item 7.3. Discussion and possible board action regarding employment of Timberly Yeck as business manager for the 21-22 school year.
Move to approve.
Did you get his?
Oh, did you get it? Oh, I just-
He was asking her permission.
Wanted to be
Oh,
approved.
sorry.
I would emphatically say you need to rehire Ms. Yeck as the business manager for the 2021-2022 school year.
I'll make that motion. I'm just
Second.
jumping the gun.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Garrison?
Emphatically, yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Aye.
Agenda item 7.4, discussion and possible board action regarding employment of Todd Cameron as computer technician, network administrator for the 21-22 school year.
Scoreboard operator,
Extraordinary.
icons. Yeah, I emphatically recommend Todd Cameron as all those things for the 2021-2022 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Can I just discuss that item real quick before we vote?
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for all that you did over the last couple of weeks and all the things that helped out.
You too, Ray.
She's not on the agenda, you can't see it.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Garrison?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Aye.
Agenda item 7.5, discussion, possible board action regarding employment of Paul Hix as athletic activities director for the 21-22 school year.
I would make the motion to rehire Paul Hix as the athletic/activities director for the 2021-2022 school year.
Make the recommendation.
Discussion?
You said motion.
I said the
Yeah, I did.
motion? All right.
Recommendation.
Okay, let me restate that. I emphatically make the recommendation to rehire Paul Hix as the 2021-2022 athletic director/activities director for the 2021-22.
So moved.
And I'm going to allow for discussion at this
Well, it needs
point,
to follow a second, and then there can be discussion.
I'll second it.
Now discussion.
because I know that's why you're here, and out of respect for you, I'm going to allow anyone on the speaker list to speak, if you signed up. Yeah. Mrs. Penny Klein.
Yes. So I have several issues with Mr. Hix.
Let me just interject real quick. Please direct all comments towards the board and to a position, not to an individual name. And there'll be no interaction between individuals, only between the board and the person speaking. Thank you. Go ahead. What's that? Yeah, no, they didn't give us a time limit on executive session, so go ahead.
Okay, so as an athletic director for Hennessey Public School, I feel like this person should be behind our school system, our parents, and I do not feel that the athletic director at this time is. Sports is the athletic director's domain. Why would an athletic director want to get rid or do away with certain sports? We have worked so hard to get these sports in our program. We didn't used to have some of these sports years ago when I was in school, but we have them now. Why would we want to get rid of them and make less options for our children? This makes absolutely no sense to me. As an athletic director, you would think that they would want to be trying to add more sports. I mean, swimming, I can think tennis. Why would we get rid of sports? Why would we not be adding sports? This person is supposed to be promoting our school and trying to do better for our school. Why would you tell people that they can't do this or they can't do that when they are only promoting our school? I feel like we need to get somebody who is here for our school, for our kids, not somebody that's going to try and take away from what we already have, what we have worked so hard and over the years built up for our program. There's a lot of other things I'd like to say, but from what you just said, there are things I cannot say here. So, but I've emailed you. You know my opinion and things that have happened. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mrs. Klein. I have other people on the speakers list. Is anyone else that signed up on the speaker list, would they?
I'd like to talk.
Okay.
I just would like the board to take in consideration that we had 300 plus people that signed a petition in a matter of 48 hours. So I would respectfully request that the board at least table it, take in consideration the signatures, the allegations that have been made, and before making a decision. Just because, I mean, some of these allegations are serious.
Have any of the allegations been brought to the administration that you're aware of?
I am not for sure. Like I said, when I started contacting all these people, I was amazed. Some of the stories that I heard. And I just think if you are going to give a recommendation to rehire someone, the evaluation, I mean, it would be so easy to talk to head coaches, to talk to some athletes. I mean, I know there's some boys that played sports and they quit at the beginning of the year. There's boys that are saying they're not going to play this year. There's athletes saying that they're not in athletics anymore because they don't want to be forced in multiple sports. So there's so much going on. Like for an athletic director, you want to build the athletic program, and all we're getting is a division of sports, boys sports against girls sports, parents against parents, and it's just, I mean, there's so much negative going on. I just wish that you guys would consider it and maybe find out some more information before rehiring him.
I agree with that.
100%.
And I have the petition if you guys want it, and it has all the signatures, and I also printed off just based off the responsibilities and the duties that he is hired to do. They're right here.
If we table, do you think that people would go with Dr. Woods or Mr. Hix?
I would hope so. I mean, I would hope so. That would give more time, and I would hope that Dr. Woods would talk to those head coaches. Just show that there's an open communication, that they're gonna listen, and there's not gonna be any repercussions. Because, like, even some of the parents that I contacted, they had strong feelings, but they're afraid that their athletes are gonna be retaliated against, and that it's gonna hurt the program or their careers. I mean, I have people that are gonna transfer out. And so just all these things added up, it's just frustrating. It is so frustrating.
So none of the allegations that you're aware of have been brought to the administration? Or, okay.
Can I just say one other thing?
Yeah.
As a parent, there are a lot of parents that I have talked to that did not realize there was a chain of command, that they had to go and speak to the principal, and then they had to go and speak to the athletic director, and then they had to go speak to Dr. Woods, and then they had to go to the school board meeting or whatever. I mean, they don't know. They just thought, the school board meeting, that's where you go and voice your opinion and give your grievances, and, you expect your board members to listen and hear what you have to say. But in all of my talking to different people, I kind of get the runaround. This isn't my responsibility. You have to talk to this person. This isn't my responsibility. You have to talk to this person. This isn't my responsibility. You have to go to the school board. So there you have your chain of command.
You and I talked directly.
Yes, we did.
There wasn't any sending anywhere when we talked. Right? And did we not, when you brought your concerns, did we not talk?
Yes, we did. But didn't you tell me that I would have to discuss it with, or I'd have to talk to the school board?
Don't believe that. I told you that talking to the school board.
Do you have that in writing?
No.
So Luke brings up a good point, and I don't know, I know you talk about not every parent knows the chain of command as far as when it comes to personnel. But the board, even though you see yes votes for personnel, we don't do evaluations, we do not do interviews. That is not the purpose of the board. The purpose of the board is to take the recommendation of the superintendent when it comes to hiring. Of course, unless there's allegations of misconduct, especially of serious allegations. Now, those allegations, if it's not just because you didn't get your way or things didn't go your way, and those are not of serious allegations, especially if they're allegations that are 6 months old, 5 months old, 4 months old. I don't understand this, quite frankly. And one question I would have to ask is, that I realize that you have these allegations, but were they verified? Were they verified before the petition was started? Meaning, were they verified with an administrator before the petition was started?
I think they were told to
And that's my point.
individuals. And I think there was an addressment of it, but I do not think it went up the ladder. I think it was a confrontation. It was said, this is unacceptable, and that was it. I don't think it went any further.
And so I want you to realize what the optics of this is for the board. And the board has heard nothing of this. None of these allegations that I've received on my email have I heard since 10 days ago. And now I'm receiving these in the 10 days after we do our annual hiring. If these allegations are 6 months old, if this happened last year, what have you, why hasn't this been brought to the administration so that something can be done and so that there is a plan of improvement, so that there is communication that can go between parents and staff and teachers? And that's my concern.
Well, for one thing, once, some little thing happens. Okay, I'm not going to be a nitpicker. I'm going to let that pass. Then some other little thing happens. Okay, everyone's human. To err is human. To forgive is divine. You let that pass. How many times, how many things are you going to let slide before you're actually going to do something about it? I spoke with Dr. Woods. And Dr. Woods and I evidently did not see eye to eye on things. He backed the athletic director.
And it went no further, correct?
That's correct.
I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to Coach Hix about an incident, talked to Dr. Woods, and literally got nowhere.
I also, it's been quite some time, but I made a phone call to you,
I
Mr.
literally got hung
Tuesday,
up on.
and I called you regarding when the middle school sports were going to be stopped and discussed Hicks with you, and I emailed, after I got off the phone with Hicks myself, spoke to the middle school principal, spoke to Hicks myself, contacted you, and then I emailed and left a message with Dr. Woods' secretary to call me and had no one call me back. And I don't think anything happened with that either.
I would like to follow up Chandra and request that you just table this for the month. Let the parents go ahead and contact, or recontact in a lot of our cases, the administration, and then you all make a decision later. Because I do feel like there needs to be some investigating a little bit further about some of the allegations. I would just really hate if those things did come out to be true, to have situations like we've had in the past.
I agree.
And maybe we should do a better job on our part to contact you guys every single time something happens.
No.
No?
You guys.
But that's what,
You guys, administration.
okay.
But when you do and it doesn't go anywhere, what difference does it
But is
make?
it fair to be a head coach of a sport and an athletic director?
I see no problem with it.
Just asking. I
Is the
just feel like
athletic
there's-
director supposed to be participating in all the other sports as
Sports.
well?
We would love to see that. We would love to see that.
So would we-
Should you
So would
punish
we.
your other sport if they, your
I
sports?
don't know who's being addressed.
So address, you know, there's a lot of people speaking right now that are not on the speaker list, and that's what that's for.
I'm on the list.
You are.
I'm just asking a question. I
And
just,
some of these parents come in late.
Yes.
And you guys had already taken, they were at a softball game of their kids.
Yes.
So remember, you know, we're here to listen to you, to listen to your concerns, and we understand.
right, I don't know, in my opinion, I just feel like if you're an athletic director, you shouldn't, I don't know, I just don't think it's right to be a head coach of one particular sport and then be an athletic director because you show favoritism. If you're an athletic director, you should should be at all sports and recommend, what's the word I'm looking for? Be at all sports and show, what's the word?
Support.
Yes, support at every sport that is through your school, not just one. And don't punish your other sports for showing support to the ones that make it to state and other, whatever, because that did happen.
Yes, some boys got locked out of the weight room because they went to support the girls that stayed cross country.
Yes.
Okay. Remember to speak to the athletic director position and,
That's kind of hard when the athletic director
Is a head football coach. Right.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Two separate things.
But as an
But
athletic
as
director, he should have
athletic
been
director,
there.
you should not punish a sport because they are showing support for your whole school I don't know how to explain it, I guess.
This is an administrative issue.
yes, I think what needs to be done is you need to bring these problems. to
Or
the
your
commission.
athletic director should be at every sport event.
I think that would be next to impossible, unfortunately, for one person to
Not
be
at
at
the
every.
same time, but I mean, more than one was.
Certainly. All right.
I agree with Chandra. I ask that you table it and at least give parents the opportunity to speak their mind.
And file
Well,
our grievances
right.
with Dr. Woods.
And I understand that, but once a month we have a meeting, and last meeting there were no parents here.
Last meeting, there was an ice storm.
I was here.
I was here.
I was here.
The last meeting, there wasn't a second to the last game of my daughter's senior year playing basketball, and
I get reprimanded for cheering my team on.
Okay.
We can readdress any hire done at any board meeting at any time during the year. That being said, my motion stands.
There's a second on the floor.
It did receive a second. We couldn't have had discussion.
Oh, yeah, that's right, I seconded it.
Okay.
Yes.
You want me to take one?
Take a vote.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Garrison?
I vote no in favor of bringing
Mr.
it back
Lau?
next month.
I would vote no in favor of bringing it back next month.
Mr. Choate?
Table.
I don't think that's an option.
I don't understand your vote.
I don't think you
It's a
can do
yes or-
that.
It's a yes or no.
It's a no.
Okay.
Just to clarify,
No.
are y'all voting to table it, or are
No.
y'all actually voting?
Voting on the motion on the
Mr.
floor,
Choate,
which is
was
for
that your vote,
hiring.
or was that
Yes, my vote's a no.
your vote's no? Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
I make a motion that we table this issue,
Second.
Agenda item 7.
7.5.
Dr. Matusek?
No.
Mr. Garrison?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
I'll abstain.
Okay, agenda item 7.5 has been tabled. Agenda item 7.6, discussion, possible board action regarding extra duty contracts for the following certified teachers as tutors, after school and/or Saturday school tutors at $20 an hour for the 2021 school year. For all names listed.
My recommendation is that we hire the listed tutors at $20 an hour for the
So moved.
2021 school year.
Second,
Dr. Matusek?
yes.
Mr. Garrison?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
And Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Agenda item 7.7, discussion, possible board action regarding extra duty contracts for the following certified teachers for elementary school spring break camp, $20 an hour for 2021 school year. This is a smaller list of people. Flo Conway, Barry Crosswhite, Siobhan Heidlich, Amy Hochstrasser, Ira Priya Humphreys, Katie Matthews, Jessica Melindy, Caitlin Norton.
I recommend the hiring of the staff for the summer, or the spring break camp.
So moved.
I'll second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Garrison?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Aye.
Agenda item 7.8, discussion, possible board action regarding extra duty contracts for the following support staff as monitors for after-school detention and/or Saturday school at $15 an hour for the 21-21 school year. Lindsey Jones.
I recommend that we hire those listed staff for those duties as read.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Garrison?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Aye.
Agenda item 7.9, discussion and possible board action regarding employment of Evelyn Ramirez as a student intern for the 21-21 school year, 2020-21 school year at $8.50 per hour.
I recommend hiring Evelyn as tutor intern for the remainder of the year.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Garrison?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Aye.
Before adjournment, I would recommend that everyone take the chance to please visit with any administrators, any staff that you might have problems with. Please contact them so that these problems can be handled internally and recommendations can be brought to the board. Thank you for coming this evening.
Motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Oh, no,
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Cho?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
That's what I need. That's what I need. Oh, my goodness.
They're closed.
Let's go, James. Let's go, James.
Through this process for 30 years now. It's done. There's no.